Chief Engineer Maya Chen squinted through the transparent aluminum viewport of the salvage ship Persistence, watching crystalline fragments drift past like frozen stars. The debris field stretched for kilometers in every direction, remnants of what must have been a massive vessel, or several. Her eye assistant, HFY, manifested as a soft blue glow in her peripheral vision. Unusual molecular composition detected, HFY announced, its voice a carefully modulated hum. These fragments appear to be converting ambient radiation into storable energy. Maya leaned forward, her breath fogging the viewport. After 15 years of deep space salvage operations, she thought she'd seen everything. But this was different. Can you get a read on the crystalline structure? Negative. The lattice configurations are shifting in real time. This technology significantly exceeds known Terran capabilities. A smile tugged at Maya's lips. Well, that's why we're out here, isn't it? To find exactly this kind of thing. She tapped her wrist console, bringing up the ship's detailed scanners. Let's see what else is. The Persistence shuddered violently, warning klaxons blaring to life. Maya's fingers flew across the console, stabilizing their position. HFY. Report. Massive energy spike detected. Source. Bearing 047 Mark 223. Distance. Approximately 1.2 kilometers. Through the debris field, a soft purple glow began to pulse, like a heartbeat in the void. As Maya watched, the crystalline fragments around them started to move, drawn toward the light as if pulled by an invisible tide. It's still alive, she whispered, understanding dawning. The fragments, they're not just debris. They're trying to rebuild. The purple glow intensified, and larger pieces of wreckage shifted, revealing what lay at the heart of the debris field. A ship, but unlike any Maya had ever seen. Its hull seemed to be composed entirely of the same crystalline material as the fragments, but darker, almost opaque. Where there should have been metal and circuits, there were veins of light pulsing beneath the surface. HFY, are you recording this? Affirmative. All sensors active. Chief Chen, I should note that the energy signature matches no known configurations in my database. This vessel appears to be operating on principles that defy our current understanding of spaceship engineering. Maya's mind raced with possibilities. The ship was clearly damaged. Massive sections were missing, and what remained was scored with deep gouges and fractures. But it was trying to repair itself, using the scattered fragments of its own hull. The technology involved was beyond anything humanity had achieved. Open a channel, she decided. All frequencies, universal greeting protocol. Channel open. HFY confirmed. Maya took a deep breath. This is Chief Engineer Maya Chen of the Terran salvage vessel Persistence. We mean you no harm and offer assistance if needed. For several long moments, there was only silence. Then the purple glow flickered, and a wave of energy washed over the Persistence. Maya's console erupted with data, symbols, and equations scrolling past faster than she could read. HFY, can you make sense of this? Processing. It appears to be a technical schematic, but the complexity is extraordinary. The vessel is not merely damaged, Chief Chen. It is dying. Maya frowned. Dying? You mean failing? No. The crystalline structure appears to be a form of living technology. The damage it sustained has compromised its ability to maintain cohesion. Without intervention, the entire system will collapse within approximately 48 hours. Through the viewport, Maya watched as another piece of the crystalline hull attempted to reintegrate with the main body of the ship, only to fall away, its purple glow dimming. The sight stirred something in her, a mixture of professional fascination and a deeper, more fundamental desire to preserve something unique and precious. How many of our nanofabricators are operational? All 6 units are at 98% capacity or higher, HFY responded. However, Chief Chen, I must point out that attempting to interface our technology with this vessel carries significant risks. The complexity of its systems exceeds our. Sometimes the best solutions are the simple ones. Maya interrupted, already moving to the engineering station. We don't need to understand everything about how it works. We just need to give it the raw materials and energy it needs to repair itself. She began programming the nanofabricators, her fingers dancing across the haptic interface. Can you isolate the base molecular structure of those crystal fragments? Affirmative. But Chief Chen. Good. Start synthesizing. We'll create a scaffolding, something for the ship's own repair systems to build on. Like setting a broken bone. As she worked, the alien vessel's glow pulsed more urgently, as if sensing their intentions. More data streamed across her console, and this time Maya could see patterns emerging. Not just technical specifications, but something that almost looked like. PULSC, she said slowly. I think it's trying to teach us how to help it. Confirmed. The data patterns suggest both instructional content and gratitude. Maya smiled, watching as the first batch of synthesized crystals began to form in the nanofabricator's chamber. They weren't perfect matches for the alien technology, but they didn't need to be. They just needed to be good enough to give the ship's own systems something to work with. Well then, she said, let's not keep our new friend waiting. Begin deployment sequence. And PULSE. Log this as first contact scenario 7 alpha. Something tells me this is going to be an interesting few days. The Persistence's external lights illuminated the space between the two vessels, casting long shadows through the debris field. As the first wave of synthesized crystals drifted toward the damaged alien ship, Maya couldn't help but feel she was witnessing the beginning of something momentous, a bridge between two technologies, two civilizations, built on humanity's most fundamental drive, the desire to fix what's broken. The synthesized crystals hung in space like frozen fireflies, their manufactured purple glow a pale imitation of the alien ship's natural luminescence. Maya watched from the Persistence's observation deck as the first cluster made contact with the vessel's damaged hull. For a moment, nothing happened. No reactive response detected. PULSE reported. The vessel appears to be analyzing our offering. Maya held her breath. The past 6 hours had been spent carefully reconstructing the molecular patterns they'd observed in the debris, trying to create something compatible with the alien technology. If this didn't work. Suddenly, the point of contact flared with brilliant light. The synthesized crystals began to change, their structure morphing as the ship's technology absorbed and reformed them. Streams of data flooded Maya's console. Fascinating, PULSE commented. The vessel isn't simply accepting our materials, it's teaching them how to become part of its structure. Maya leaned closer to the viewport, watching in amazement as the transformed crystals began to spread across the damaged section of hull, creating new growth like frost across a window. It's like watching evolution in fast forward, she murmured. PULSC, adjust the nanofabricators. Match the new pattern it's showing us. As they worked, the alien ship continued to communicate through bursts of data. What had initially seemed like random technical specifications was revealing itself to be something far more complex, a language expressed through mathematical concepts and energy states. Chief Chen, PULSE interrupted her thoughts. I'm detecting unusual power fluctuations in the vessel's core systems. The repair process appears to be consuming more energy than anticipated. Maya frowned, studying the readings. The ship's attempt to integrate their synthesized materials was draining its already depleted resources. It's like a fever in a biological system, she realized. The repair process itself is putting strain on the patient. She quickly began recalibrating their approach. PULSE, modify the crystal structure. Add capacity for energy storage. If we can't slow down the integration process, we can at least try to supplement its power supply. Modification in progress. However, Chief Chen, there is another concern. PULSE's normally steady voice carried a note of uncertainty. The vessel's computational patterns are becoming increasingly complex. I believe it's attempting to establish a more direct form of communication. As if in response to PULC's words, the alien ship's purple glow intensified. The data stream changed, becoming less technical and more abstract. Images began to form on Maya's console, geometric patterns that shifted and flowed like liquid mathematics. "It's beautiful," Maya whispered, reaching out to touch the holographic display. The moment her fingers made contact, the pattern surged, and something extraordinary happened. The images transformed into a three-dimensional representation that filled the observation deck. A star map, but unlike any Maya had ever seen. Instead of traditional astronomical markers, it showed flows of energy and currents of something that looked like crystalline matter threading between the stars. PULC, are you seeing this? Affirmative. The vessel appears to be sharing navigational data, but the method of travel it's describing. This suggests capabilities far beyond our current understanding of space travel. Maya studied the map, her engineer's mind racing to understand the principles behind it. Look at these patterns. It's not using traditional propulsion at all. It's somehow tapping into existing energy flows between star systems, like a ship riding ocean currents. The map suddenly flickered, the image distorting as another power fluctuation rippled through the alien vessel. The newly formed crystal growth on its hull dimmed ominously. "Power levels critical," PULC warned. "The ship's core systems are approaching minimum sustainable threshold." Maya's excitement turned to concern. They were so close to understanding something revolutionary, but none of that would matter if they couldn't keep the ship alive. "Redirect all non-essential power from the persistence," she ordered. "Route it through the synthesized crystals. Let's give it everything we can spare." "Chief Chen, that would leave us with only emergency reserves, if something were to go wrong." "Sometimes you have to risk everything to save a life," Maya cut in. "Even if that life is a crystalline spaceship we barely understand." As PULC complied with her orders, Maya watched the power transfer begin. The Persistence's lights dimmed, and she felt the subtle change in the ship's ambient hum as systems powered down. Through the viewport, she could see their energy flowing into the alien vessel through the network of synthesized crystals, like blood flowing through new veins. The ship's purple glow strengthened, and the star map stabilized. But something else was happening now. The pattern of energy flow was changing, becoming more organized, more deliberate. The crystals they'd created were no longer just conducting power. They were resonating with it, creating harmonics that spread through the alien vessel's entire structure. "PULC," Maya said slowly, "what exactly are we looking at?" "The vessel appears to be singing, Chief Chen. The energy patterns match known theories about crystalline computing, using vibrations to process and store information. I believe it's found a way to integrate our technology, not just physically, but functionally." Maya watched in wonder as the hybrid system they created continued to evolve, human and alien technologies merging in ways she never imagined possible. But before she could fully process what was happening, PULC's voice cut through her thoughts with sudden urgency. "Chief Chen, long-range sensors are detecting multiple objects entering the debris field. Their energy signatures. They match weapons' signatures. The star map vanish, replaced by a new set of images. Dark ships, moving with predatory purpose, their designs as alien as the crystalline vessel, but radiating menace rather than wonder." "Well," Maya said grimly, watching the approaching threats, "I guess we're about to find out why our new friend was so badly damaged in the first place." The approaching vessels cut through the debris field like sharks through dark water, their hulls seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. Maya counted 5 of them, each larger than the Persistence by several factors, their designs suggesting the same alien origin as the crystalline ship, but twisted into something predatory. "They're following the energy signature from our power transfer," PULC reported. "Estimated time to weapons range, 6 minutes. Maya's mind raced. The Persistence was a salvage vessel, armed with little more than point defense systems. The crystalline ship was still vulnerable, its repairs incomplete. Running wasn't an option, not with their power levels depleted from the transfer. That left. PULC, what's the composition of the debris field around us? Approximately 60% crystalline fragments from our damaged friend, 30% standard space debris, 10% unidentified materials. Chief Chen, are you considering? The crystals respond to energy patterns. Maya interrupted, her fingers flying across the console. And they're already partially integrated with our systems. What if we turned this whole debris field into one big transmission network? The power requirements would be enormous, PULC cautioned. And the level of coordination required. We don't need to control it perfectly, Maya said, already moving to the engineering station. We just need to create chaos. Start programming the nanofabricators. Forget about perfect crystal structures. I want thousands of small fragments, just sophisticated enough to carry a charge. As PULC complied, Maya opened a channel to the crystalline ship. The mathematical language they developed was crude, but she hoped it would be enough to convey her plan. The response came immediately, a surge of data that made her console spark with excess energy. They understand, she breathed. They're going to help us. The next 5 minutes were a blur of activity. The Persistence's nanofabricators worked at maximum capacity, spitting out clouds of crude crystal fragments that dispersed throughout the debris field. The alien vessel, understanding their intent, began pulsing with rhythmic waves of energy that the fragments absorbed and reflected, creating a web of shifting power currents. First vessel entering effective range, PULC announced. They're charging weapons. Now, Maya commanded. She slammed her hand down on the activation sequence she'd prepared. Every fragment they'd created lit up at once, turning the debris field into a sea of purple fire. The energy web they'd created caught the alien vessel's pulse and amplified it, sending it bouncing through the field in unpredictable patterns. The effect on the approaching ships was immediate. Their sensors, calibrated to track energy signatures, were suddenly overwhelmed by thousands of false readings. The first ship fired, its beam weapon slicing through empty space where a ghost signal had appeared and vanished. It's working, Maya said, watching as the hostile fleet's formation began to break down. PULC, start moving us through the field. Random patterns, keep them guessing. The Persistence slipped through the chaos like a fish through coral, using the larger pieces of debris for cover, while the energy web continued to proliferate false signals. The hostile ships, unable to distinguish real targets from the thousands of echoes, began firing blindly, their weapons creating new clouds of debris that only added to the confusion. But Maya knew they couldn't maintain the deception forever. The crystalline ship was still vulnerable, and each pulse of energy it contributed to their defensive web drained its recovering systems further. Chief Chen, PULC's voice carried an urgent edge. The vessel is showing signs of strain. Its power output is becoming erratic. Through the viewport, Maya could see the truth of it. The ship's purple glow was fluctuating, its attempts to maintain the energy web taking a toll on its repairs. They needed a new plan, and fast. That's when she noticed something in the pattern of the hostile ship's movements. They weren't just firing randomly anymore. They were trying to establish a search grid, methodically eliminating the false signals one section at a time. They're adapting, she realized. But maybe we can use that against them. PULC analyzed their search pattern. Where's the blind spot? The eye was silent for a moment, processing. There, it finally responded, highlighting a sector on the tactical display. Their coverage leaves a gap when they rotate to compensate for the debris drift. Maya studied the projection, a plan forming. If we time it right, we could slip past them, but we'd need to create a big enough distraction. She looked at the crystals they'd been using to repair the alien vessel, specifically at the way they stored and channeled energy. An idea struck her, dangerous but possible. PULC, how much power do we have left in the emergency reserves? 17%. Barely enough for life support and minimal propulsion. What if we used it all at once? Channel it through the repair crystals. Create one massive energy pulse. The crystals would likely shatter from the overload, Pugliese warned, and we'd be running on fumes afterward. But it would create one hell of a flash, Maya said, especially if our friend out there adds their power to it. The hostile ship's sensors would be completely overwhelmed. She opened the channel to the crystalline vessel again, transmitting her plan through their mathematical language. The response was immediate and clear: agreement, tinged with something that felt like appreciation for the audacity of the idea. "They're in," Maya said. "Start the power transfer. On my mark, we'll give these hunters something they won't forget." As they made their preparations, Maya watched the hostile ships continuing their methodical search. They thought they were dealing with damaged prey, something to be hunted down and destroyed. They were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous thing in space isn't the biggest ship or the most powerful weapon. It's human ingenuity combined with alien wisdom, creating solutions that neither species could have devised alone. "Power transfer complete," Pugliese announced. "Crystal network is charged to maximum capacity. Warning: structural integrity of synthetic crystals is already showing signs of stress." Maya took a deep breath, her hand hovering over the activation control. "Sometimes," she said, "you have to break things to make them work better." "Ready for emergency thrust on my mark." The hostile ships drew closer, their search pattern tightening. Maya waited, watching their movements, feeling the thrum of power building in the crystal network around them. The timing had to be perfect. Now, the combined energy pulse lit up space like an artificial supernova. Every crystal in the debris field detonated simultaneously, creating a cascade of purple-white light that overwhelmed sensors and view screens alike. Maya had to shield her eyes even through the Persistence's automatically polarizing viewport. The hostile ships reeled from the blast, their formations breaking completely as their sensors overloaded. In that moment of chaos, Maya engaged the emergency thrusters, guiding both their vessel and the crystalline ship through the narrow gap in the hunter's search pattern. "Status of the crystal network?" she asked, keeping her eyes fixed on their escape route. 97% of fabricated crystals have been destroyed," Pugliese reported. However, the energy release pattern was unexpected. "Chief Chen, I'm detecting residual harmonic resonance throughout the debris field." Maya was about to ask for clarification when she saw it. The fragments of shattered crystals weren't simply drifting away. They were singing. The energy overload had created a complex pattern of vibrations that rippled through the debris field, creating interference patterns that continued to confound the hostile ship's sensors. "The vessel is responding," Pugliese announced with what almost sounded like wonder in its artificial voice. Through the viewport, Maya watched as the crystalline ship's purple glow synchronized with the harmonic resonance. Its partially repaired sections began to pulse in rhythm with the shattered crystals, and suddenly she understood. "It's not just responding," she said. "It's conducting. Like a symphony orchestra." She turned to her console, studying the energy patterns. "Pugliese, can you isolate those harmonics? Match our remaining power output to their frequency." As Pugliese complied, the Persistence's engines changed pitch, their hum aligning with the crystalline resonance. The effect was immediate. Their movement through space became smoother, as if they were riding the waves of energy rather than fighting against them. "Remarkable," Pugliese commented. "The vessel appears to be using the harmonic resonance to create a form of propulsion. By matching their frequency, we're being pulled along in their wake." Behind them, the hostile ships were beginning to recover, their weapons charging as they attempted to reacquire their targets. But the harmonic interference continued to disrupt their targeting systems, forcing them to rely on visual tracking alone. "They're still coming," Maya noted, "but we've bought ourselves some time. How's our power?" "Emergency reserves at 8% and falling. The harmonic synchronization is helping conserve energy, but we cannot maintain this pace indefinitely." Maya nodded, her mind racing. They'd survived the immediate threat, but they were far from safe. The crystalline ship was still healing, their own power was critically low, and the hunters would eventually adapt to their tricks. That's when she noticed something strange in the data scrolling across her console. The crystalline ship's energy signature had changed. It wasn't just maintaining the harmonic resonance anymore, it was trying to show them something. PULSC, are you seeing this? These patterns, they're similar to the star map from before, but different. Analyzing, the AI responded. The mathematical structure suggests, Chief Chen, I believe the vessel is trying to teach us how to navigate using the harmonic resonance itself. Maya leaned forward, studying the complex equations flowing across her screen. The crystalline ship's method of travel wasn't about conventional propulsion at all. It was about finding and riding existing energy patterns that stretched between star systems, like solar winds but far more complex. It's showing us how it travels, she breathed. These harmonics we created by accident. They're like echoes of the actual energy flows it uses to move between stars. She began adjusting their systems, trying to match the patterns the alien vessel was showing them. It was incredibly complex, like trying to learn a new language and a new form of physics simultaneously. But with each adjustment, the Persistence's movement became more efficient, more graceful. Power consumption dropping, PULS reported. The harmonic resonance is actually helping to recharge our systems. However, the hostile vessels are adapting their pursuit pattern. They appear to be attempting to disrupt the resonance field. Maya watched as the hunters spread out, their weapons fire now targeted not at the ships directly, but at the space between them, trying to break up the harmonic patterns they were riding. They know this technology, she realized. That's why they attacked our friend in the first place. They're trying to prevent it from sharing these secrets. The crystalline ship pulsed in response, confirming her theory. Its next transmission carried a weight of emotion that transcended their mathematical language, a sense of purpose, of resistance against those who would hoard knowledge and restrict its spread. Well, Maya said, a determined smile spreading across her face, they're a bit too late for that. She turned to her console, fingers flying across the controls. PULSC, start recording everything. Every frequency, every pattern, every equation. We're not just going to escape. We're going to learn everything this ship is willing to teach us. As they worked, the harmonics grew stronger, more complex. The crystalline ship's lessons became more sophisticated, showing them not just how to ride the energy flows, but how to shape them, create new patterns, open pathways where none existed before. The hostile ships pressed their attack, but with each passing moment, the Persistence's movements became more assured, more integrated with their alien companions' techniques. They weren't just fleeing anymore. They were dancing through space, each maneuver guided by the combined wisdom of human adaptability and crystalline knowledge. Chief Chen, PULSC interrupted her concentration. The vessel is indicating it's ready to attempt a long-range harmonic jump. But the calculations suggest we would need to maintain perfect synchronization throughout the transition. Maya studied the proposed calculations, her heart racing. What the crystalline ship was suggesting was beyond anything humanity had achieved, a form of faster-than-light travel that didn't tear through space, but rather flowed with its natural currents. Can we do it? She asked. The margin for error is minimal, PULSC replied. And we would need to maintain our connection with the vessel throughout the jump. One miscalculation. Sometimes, Maya said, remembering all the impossible things they'd already achieved today. You have to trust that understanding something halfway is better than not trying at all. She opened a channel to the crystalline ship, transmitting their readiness. The response came not in mathematics this time, but in pure harmony, a song of stars and space, and the paths between them, waiting to be traversed. All right, old friend, Maya whispered, her hand steady on the controls. Show us how to fly. The harmonic resonance built around them like a gathering storm, purple energy waves rippling through space in complex, mathematical patterns. Maya's fingers danced across the Persistence's controls, matching each frequency shift the crystalline ship transmitted, weaving their technologies together into something entirely new. Hostile vessels adapting their attack pattern. Pulist reported. They're attempting to create interference in the harmonic field. Through the viewport, Maya could see the hunter ships spreading out in a precise formation, their weapons firing in synchronized bursts designed to disrupt the energy flows they were building. They understood what was coming, and they were determined to stop it. "They're too late," Maya said, feeling the harmonics strengthening despite the interference. "We've already learned too much." The crystalline ship pulsed in agreement, its partially healed sections glowing brighter as it channeled more power into their shared resonance field. The mathematics flowing across her console had become a living thing, each equation building on the last to describe pathways through space that human science had never imagined. It wasn't about brute force or exotic particles. It was about understanding the universe's own rhythms and learning to flow with them. Harmonic synchronization at 87%, PULC announced. The vessel indicates we need at least 95 for a successful jump. Maya nodded, her attention split between maintaining their defensive maneuvers and fine-tuning their resonance patterns. "How's our power holding?" "Emergency reserves at 12% and rising. The harmonic field is actually feeding energy back into our systems, but the conversion process is straining our regulatory circuits." A warning klaxon blared as one of the hunter ships managed to pierce their defensive screen, its energy beam grazing the Persistence's port side. The ship shuddered, but the crystalline vessel immediately adjusted its harmonics to compensate, stabilizing them. "They're targeting our power distribution nodes," PULC warned. "If they disrupt our energy flow." "They won't," Maya interrupted, her voice firm, "because we're not going to be here much longer." She opened a direct channel to the crystalline ship, transmitting a new idea, not in mathematics this time, but in pure energy patterns. The response was immediate and enthusiastic. The alien vessel's glow intensified, and new data streamed across Maya's console. Together, they began weaving a more complex harmony, incorporating the very interference their attackers were creating into their resonance field. "Chief Chen," PULC said, a note of concern in its artificial voice, "this pattern exceeds all known safe parameters for energy manipulation." "That's the point," Maya replied, her fingers never stopping their dance across the controls. "Sometimes you have to break the rules to rewrite them." The hunter ships pressed their attack, but with each burst of weapons fire, the harmonic field grew stronger, absorbing and transforming their energy into new frequencies. The space around them began to shimmer as reality itself responded to their song. Synchronization at 92%, PULC reported. 93, 94. Maya could feel it building, a crescendo of energy and mathematics and pure possibility. The crystalline ship's consciousness brushed against her mind through their shared harmonics, transmitting not just data now but understanding. This wasn't just about escape. It was about evolution, about two different species learning to see the universe through each other's eyes. Multiple target locks detected, PULC warned. "The hostile vessels are preparing a synchronized attack." "Let them try," Maya said, watching the numbers climb. "We just need a few more seconds." The hunter ships fired as one, their combined energy weapons forming a net of destructive force that closed in around the Persistence and its crystalline companion. But at that exact moment, their harmonic synchronization peaked. 95%, PULC announced. Maya slammed her hand down on the activation sequence. Now, space itself seemed to hold its breath, and then sang. The harmonic field erupted into pure light, each frequency finding its corresponding resonance in the fabric of reality. The hunter ship's energy weapons were caught in the field, their power absorbed and redirected into the growing harmony. Through the viewport, Maya watched in awe as space began to fold, not violently like a conventional FTL jump, but gracefully, like a dancer moving to music only they could hear. The crystalline ship led the way, pulling them into the resonance stream, teaching them how to ride the universe's own songs between the stars. The hunter ships fired desperately, but their weapons passed harmlessly through the space where their targets had been. The Persistence and its alien companion were already gone, surfing waves of possibility that human science had never dreamed existed. Inside the resonance stream, reality was both more and less solid than Maya had ever experienced. Stars stretched into rivers of light, their energies forming the very currents they rode. Through their shared harmonics, the crystalline ship showed her wonders that defied description: hidden geometries of space, songs of gravity and time, mathematics that read like poetry. Power systems stable, Pulis reported, its voice filled with what could only be described as awe. The vessel is teaching our engines how to sustain themselves using the stream's energy. We're actually gaining power the longer we stay connected. Maya smiled, watching the universe unfold around them in new and beautiful ways. Send a message to command, she said. Tell them we've made a friend. And together, we're about to change everything. The crystalline ship pulsed in agreement, its consciousness intertwined with their own through the harmonics they'd created together. As they rode the resonance stream toward distant stars, Maya realized that this was more than just an escape or a technological breakthrough. It was a testament to the power of cooperation, of different species reaching across the void to help each other grow. They had started with a damaged ship and a desperate plan. They were ending with a new understanding of the universe itself, and the knowledge that sometimes the greatest discoveries come not from conquering the unknown, but from learning to sing along with its music. The Persistence soared through the resonance stream, its systems humming in perfect harmony with its crystalline companion. Behind them, the hunter ships and their weapons faded into insignificance. Ahead lay infinite possibilities, waiting to be explored by those who weren't afraid to learn new songs. And in the space between stars, human ingenuity and alien wisdom danced together, creating melodies that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come.